What is up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? It's your old friend IndyCar Tim here with the Pittsburgh Steelers Black and Gold Daily Blitz. It is NFL schedule release Wednesday. Yesterday. Today's Thursday. Look, I didn't get on this thing yesterday because I needed some time to sort of digest things, to look at this, because the Steelers have so many question marks heading into 2025. I needed a chance to sit down and digest all of this stuff to see where the Steelers are going to be, where they are now, and how it all fits together in this big piece of the puzzle that is the 2025 Pittsburgh Steelers and NFL schedule. So, look, we all know the state of the franchise right now. We kind of know what's happening and the question marks surrounding the quarterback position. Will he sign? Won't he sign? When will it be? If it happens at all, do we really want him here? He's going to suck anyway. He was terrible last year. Whatever it is you think about Aaron Rodgers, whether you want him here or not, if you think he was good, if you think he will be good, or you don't think he was good last year with the Jets, and you don't think, whatever it is, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a quarterback problem. And that will be a point of discussion until something happens, until either Aaron Rodgers signs or he says, you know what, thanks, but no thanks. I think I'll just retire. And then we'll stop talking about it. But as far as the schedule goes this year, the Steelers once again open their season on the road. They go to MetLife for the first time since the 2020 season. They will take on the Jets in, again, what could be an extremely interesting game if Aaron Rodgers is here. If not, it's still kind of interesting because guess who's there? That would be Justin Fields, former quarterback of the Steelers for one season last year. Aside from that, 3 of the Steelers' first 4 games before a Week 5 bye, by the way, that's a really weird week for a bye, are against teams who missed the playoffs. So that'll give Pittsburgh kind of a window to get off to a good start. But as easy as the schedule looks to start the year, it looks way, way more difficult to close the season as you have an extremely tough stretch with a pair of late season games against Baltimore and then matchups with Buffalo and Detroit before Cleveland. And I'm not going to call Cleveland a tough matchup. But for the second year in a row, the Steelers are away from Acrisure Stadium for 3 of the first 4 games. They're technically the designated home team for the Week 4 game against the Vikings in Ireland. So sorry, I can't do an Irish accent. Best I got for you. Which I don't know how you feel about that. By the way, you guys are always able to reach me 24/7 at the FanStream Sports Studio text line, 214-937-0569. That is available 24/7. Make sure you tell me who you are and where you're texting from, and then whatever your chippy little comment is. I would love to hear from your perspective, what you think of the Steelers' schedule. You know what, hell, tell me what you think about the Aaron Rodgers debacle situation, whatever you want to call it. It will make you part of the next show, but again, I got to know who you are and where you're texting from in and around the Pittsburgh area or anywhere in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania, America, the world. I don't care. If it's a good comment and you tell me who you are and where you're from, I will make sure that it's part of the next show. And what you feel about the game in Ireland. Giving up a home game in Pittsburgh to play on the road in Ireland, especially against the Vikings. I know the Steelers don't control that part of it, but it'll be the first regular season game in history for the NFL in Ireland, and it's the Steelers' first international game since 12 years ago in London, where it was the Vikings again. So it is what it is. That's Week 4. And unlike, though, a year ago when the Steelers didn't have a divisional game until late in the season, they get it going early this year in Week 6 against the Browns and a Week 7 game on Thursday night against the Cincinnati Bengals. And look, the Steelers are very fortunate for that, I believe, because we've got teams in the league who start with divisional games. I think the Cowboys, start with games in Week 1 and 2 against the Eagles and the Giants, 2 divisional matchups, and I freaking hate that in the NFL. I don't think you should play a divisional game in the first month. I think you should get out of September before you start playing divisional games, just because how early it is in the season. You want those divisional games. The NFL puts more emphasis on those, obviously. So they're more important to the NFL. Well, let's get our team together a little bit and maybe get some of the little nagging injuries from the offseason out of the way and get some players back in October before we start playing those. Maybe that's just me. Again, you can let me know if you want. You're welcome to comment, too, in the video, in the comment section here under the video, wherever you're watching here, on the Black and Gold Daily Blitz on FanStream Sports. By the way, also available on the FanStream Sports mobile app. Go download it for free today. Shameless plug. So here's how your schedule goes. We're not going to go piece by piece for win-loss totals here. It's way, way too early for that. We will get into that a little bit later in the season as the Steelers will cut down to the 53, the final 53 man roster for the 2025 season. We will then at that point go through all of our predictions for the team, rushing leaders, passing leaders, stats, maybe win-losses, all of that good stuff, and then recap it late in the season to show you how wrong we were, as we typically are. You go through September, you start at the Jets, then you go to host the Seahawks, at the Patriots in Week 3, and, of course, as we mentioned, you are in Ireland on September 28th for the Week 4 matchup, technically a home game, against the Vikings before your your Week 5 bye. Sure, we'll call it bye 5. Again, I don't like it that so early, but the fact that you're not playing any divisional games for the month of September, I'll take that trade-off. So if you have any nagging injuries late in the preseason or in the first part of the season, you'll have a week here to make it right if that's a thing. Starting in October, Week 6, October 12th, home against the Browns. October 16th at the Bengals on a Thursday night football game in Week 7. Another national game in Week 8 on October 26th at home against the Packers. Again, if Rodgers is here, another storyline there for you. I'm getting really tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers, by the way. Week 9, November 2nd, you are at home against the Colts. Week 10, November 9th, at the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego, Anaheim, Inglewood, Los Angeles. Another Sunday night matchup for you. Before a Week 11 home game against the Bengals. So you're finished with the Bengals by November 16th. And you don't have to see them again unless you do in the playoffs. Week 12, November 23rd, at the Chicago Bears. I can do that way better than I can do an Ireland accent, by the way. We'll see what Caleb Williams is made of here. Now, at this point, halfway through his sophomore season in the NFL. Week 13, at home against the Buffalo Bills and the Josh Allens. Week 14, December 7th, at the Baltimore Ravens. That'll be a big matchup. Hopefully, two teams competing for the AFC North title into playoff position. Week 15, you are at home for a Monday Night Football game against the Miami Dolphins. And either Tua or Quinn Ewers, whoever's playing quarterback for them, if Tua still has a head on his shoulders at that point. Week 16, December 21st, at the Lions. Week 17, December 28th, at the Cleveland Browns, another divisional game. You're closing with two divisional games, as we mentioned at the onset of the show. You're at the Browns, December 28th, and then in Week 18, a date to be determined because we never know if those are Saturday or Sunday games, depending on where the team is. You will host the Ravens. This is the 10th hardest schedule in the NFL. That does not bode well for the Steelers, as you boast a top 10 hardest schedule. Granted, it's the 10th, but it's still top 10. Otherwise, they'd call it the top 9. That's how math works, y'all. Biggest takeaway for me is, look, like the Steelers, the NFL and its schedule makers seem pretty optimistic that Rodgers will eventually sign. And that will, of course, make that Week 1 season opener in New York and the Week 8 Sunday night game against the Packers, national sideshows. But even with their quarterback situation the way it is, the Steelers' brand is, I think, strong enough with 4 primetime games and 1 standalone game in Ireland. I think without Rodgers even, just the Steelers' brand is enough to carry those games in primetime and, of course, the international game. As we see if Mike Tomlin and his team can to extend his streak of never having a losing season. So date for everyone to circle. How about Week 14, December 7th in Baltimore? The Steelers got run over in the playoffs last year, 28-14. The Steelers paid attention in the draft this year to getting a little more physical, so they'll have plenty of opportunities to test that physicality before that Week 14 clash against Baltimore. But early December is when the Steelers started to kind of fall off last year, losing. What'd you lose? We lose 5 games in a row, including the playoff game. So you got to be physical out of the gate. I think that Week 14 game in Baltimore is one you want to circle on the calendar. Weeks 13 through 16, I think, is going to be a tremendous key stretch. That includes the aforementioned Ravens meeting, but the games that surround it aren't any easier. Of course, the Bills are one of the AFC's best teams. The Lions are among the best in the NFC. So for a Steelers team that's trying to prove that it can not just make the playoffs, but also maybe win its first playoff game since 2016, you're going to have to win some of these matchups in this Week 13 through 16 stretch, I believe. They had an opportunity last year with a similar stretch and did not get it done. And it cost them, obviously. So my bold prediction, though, for the Steelers is that, and you're not going to like it because it really doesn't matter, but I think the Steelers will win their first international regular season game. They haven't played in an international game since I mentioned before, facing the Vikings in 2013. They lost that game 34-27. The Vikings are rolling out J.J. McCarthy, last year's first-round pick, who tore his ACL in the offseason. We don't know anything about what he's going to be able to do with the Vikings offense. The Steelers' defense, though, is usually pretty lethal against rookie quarterbacks. And catching the Vikings here early in the season before J.J. McCarthy has a chance to get going could bode well for them. So there's your Pittsburgh Steelers sort of schedule reaction, schedule breakdown, best storylines, worst story, whatever you want to call it. Look, you guys know what it is by now. And that's what we do around here. I want to thank everybody for making this one part of your day here at FanStreamSports.com and the Black and Gold Daily Blitz. Make sure you subscribe. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, or just keep checking in at FanStreamSports.com and our YouTube channel at FanStream Sports. Appreciate you guys very much. We will do it again here shortly to talk a little off-season Steelers ball, some AFC North stuff for you right here on the Black and Gold, it's easy for me to say, Black and Gold Daily Blitz. Until next time, boys and girls, we'll see you.